Financial boundaries are essential tools for protecting your money and well being. But what exactly are they, and why do they matter so much in our daily lives? At their core, financial boundaries are limits you set to protect your finances and overall well being. Think of them as your personal financial safety net. Financial boundaries encompass all aspects of your money management, from budgeting and saving to investing and debt management. Let's break down what financial boundaries actually establish in your life. Financial boundaries establish clear expectations for how you manage money, define how money impacts your relationships with others, and ensure you maintain control while working toward your financial goals. These boundaries guide your financial interactions in everyday situations, helping you make decisions that align with your values and goals. Let's look at some practical examples of what financial boundaries look like in real life. Examples include setting monthly spending limits, learning to say no when asked to lend money, prioritizing your savings over immediate wants, and having open discussions about finances with your partner. Just like other types of personal boundaries, financial boundaries are about establishing healthy limits that protect your well being and help you maintain control over your life. The key insight is that financial boundaries aren't about restricting yourself, they're about empowering yourself to make intentional choices with your money. Whether you're managing your personal finances or navigating money matters in relationships, financial boundaries provide the framework for healthy financial decisions that support your long term well being and goals. Understanding what financial boundaries are is the first step toward taking control of your financial life and building a secure financial future. Financial boundaries are not just helpful suggestions, they are essential tools that can transform your financial life. Understanding why they matter is the first step toward taking control of your money and your future. First and most importantly, setting financial boundaries is an empowering skill that directly helps you achieve your financial goals. When you establish clear limits, you create a framework for financial success. Financial boundaries allow you to say yes to the things that truly matter for your financial health. By setting limits with yourself and others, you create space for saving, investing, and paying down debt. Beyond personal empowerment, financial boundaries serve as crucial protection in your relationships and overall well being. Financial boundaries help prevent financial strain in relationships. Money disagreements are one of the leading causes of relationship stress, but clear boundaries can prevent these conflicts before they start. Financial boundaries also protect you from financial abuse. This serious issue exists in 99% of abusive relationships, making strong financial boundaries essential for your safety and independence. Finally, financial boundaries significantly reduce stress related to money matters. When you have clear limits and expectations, you eliminate much of the anxiety and uncertainty that comes with financial decisions. Financial boundaries are essential because they empower you to achieve your goals, protect your relationships, guard against abuse, and reduce money-related stress. They transform financial management from a source of anxiety into a tool for building the life you want. Financial boundaries come in several different forms, each serving a specific purpose in protecting your financial well-being. Understanding these types helps you identify which boundaries you need in your own life. The first type is budget boundaries. These involve creating a spending plan and sticking to it, regardless of temptations or pressure from others. Budget boundaries help you allocate your money according to your priorities and goals. The second type is spending boundaries, which help you distinguish between wants and needs. These boundaries prevent impulse purchases and keep you focused on essential expenses versus discretionary spending. The third type involves relationship boundaries with family and friends. This means learning to say no to requests for money, loans, or financial support that could jeopardize your own financial stability. The fourth and crucial type is protection boundaries, which safeguard you from financial abuse and manipulation. This includes maintaining control over your own accounts, protecting personal financial information, and recognizing signs of financial coercion. These four types of financial boundaries work together to create a comprehensive approach to financial wellness. By implementing budget boundaries, spending boundaries, relationship boundaries, and protection boundaries, you build a strong foundation for long-term financial health and security. Your emotions are powerful indicators that tell you when financial boundaries are needed. Learning to recognize these warning signs is the first step toward protecting your financial well-being. There are three primary emotional warning signs to watch for. Anxiety occurs when discussing money makes you feel nervous or stressed. Discomfort happens when you feel uneasy about financial situations. Resentment builds when you feel angry about past money interactions. One common scenario where boundaries are needed is bill splitting. You might feel uncomfortable when bills are split unequally, when you're repeatedly paying for others, or when people assume you'll cover expenses. These feelings of discomfort are your mind telling you that a boundary is needed. Another major warning sign is resentment when lending money. You might feel angry about unpaid loans, start avoiding certain people, or experience stress when asked for money. If you feel regret after lending or lose sleep over money issues, these are clear indicators that boundaries are needed. The clearest indicator that you need a boundary is when you feel pressured or manipulated about money. This includes guilt trips, emotional manipulation, threats or ultimatums, being made to feel selfish for your financial choices, constant requests for money, or having your financial goals dismissed by others. Your body and mind also provide clear signals when financial boundaries are needed. Physical signs include stomach knots, tension headaches, difficulty sleeping, and muscle tension. Mental signs include constant worry, difficulty concentrating, avoiding money conversations, and feeling overwhelmed by financial situations. Remember to trust your instincts. If money conversations make you uncomfortable, if you feel resentment about financial interactions, or if you experience anxiety around money discussions, these are clear signals that a boundary is needed. Your emotional and physical responses are valuable guides for protecting your financial well-being. Setting clear financial boundaries starts with defining your financial priorities and limits. You need to know what matters most to you financially before you can communicate those boundaries to others. Take time to list your financial goals in order of importance. Whether it's building an emergency fund, paying off debt, or saving for retirement, having clear priorities helps you make decisions about where your money should go. Next, set specific financial limits based on your priorities. This might mean allocating a certain amount to debt repayment each month, or setting a maximum you're willing to spend on entertainment. Use tools like debt trackers or budget apps to make your limits concrete and visual. When you can see your progress, it becomes easier to stick to your boundaries and explain them to others. When communicating your boundaries, be clear and direct. Avoid vague statements or lengthy explanations that might invite negotiation. A simple, honest statement works best. For example, instead of saying, "I'm not sure if I can afford it," try, "I'm currently focused on paying off debt, so I can't lend you money right now." This is clear, specific, and doesn't leave room for argument. Learning to say no without feeling guilty is crucial for maintaining financial boundaries. Remember, saying no to one thing means saying yes to your financial goals. Practice these phrases until they feel natural. "That doesn't fit my budget right now." "I'm not comfortable with that expense." Or simply, "No, I can't do that." The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Finally, remember that it's okay to put your own financial needs first. You can't help others financially if you haven't secured your own financial foundation. Taking care of your finances isn't selfish, it's responsible. When you have clear financial boundaries, you create space for your money to work toward your goals. This leads to better financial health, reduced stress, and the ability to be genuinely generous when you choose to be. Effective communication is the cornerstone of successful financial boundaries. How you express your limits can make the difference between maintaining healthy relationships and creating unnecessary conflict. There are 4 main communication styles when setting boundaries. Let's examine each approach and understand why being assertive is most effective. Assertive communication respects both yourself and others. It's direct, honest, and maintains dignity for everyone involved. This is the ideal approach for financial boundary conversations. The foundation of assertive boundary communication is using I statements. These express your feelings and needs without blaming or attacking the other person. Let's see the difference between ineffective and effective boundary communication with a practical example about lending money. Here's a simple formula for creating effective I statements when communicating financial boundaries. Be prepared to repeat your boundaries, especially with family members. Consistency is key to establishing respect for your financial limits. Remember these key principles for effective boundary communication. Stay calm, be consistent, use I statements, and don't feel guilty about protecting your financial well-being. Even when you set clear financial boundaries, there will be times when people don't respect them. Having a plan for these violations is essential to protecting your financial well-being. Boundary violations happen when someone repeatedly ignores your financial limits. This could be persistent requests for money after you've said no, guilt trips about your spending decisions, or pressure to lend beyond what you're comfortable with. When a boundary violation occurs, having a clear response plan helps you react appropriately rather than emotionally. Start by staying calm and assessing the situation. Then choose your response and communicate clearly about what happened. When boundaries are violated, you have several enforcement options. You might limit contact with repeat violators, set clear consequences for boundary crossing, or document patterns of violations. Remember, seeking support is always an option. Consider seeking support from a financial therapist when violations are causing significant stress, damaging relationships, or involving large amounts of money. Professional support can help you develop stronger enforcement strategies and cope with the emotional aspects of boundary setting. Remember, you have the absolute right to protect your financial well-being. It's okay to enforce your boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable. Your financial security is worth defending, and taking action to protect it is both necessary and empowering. The loud budgeting approach is a modern financial trend that emphasizes being completely transparent about your spending limits and financial boundaries. Traditional budgeting often happens quietly and privately. People make excuses or feel embarrassed when they can't afford something, leading to awkward situations and financial stress. Loud budgeting flips this approach completely. Instead of making excuses, you openly communicate your financial limits and priorities with confidence and clarity. Loud budgeting is built on three core principles that make financial conversations easier and more effective. First, transparency over excuses. Instead of creating elaborate stories about why you can't spend money, you simply state your financial reality honestly. Second, confidence in your choices. Loud budgeting means owning your financial decisions without shame or apology, recognizing that budgeting is a smart financial practice. Third, normalizing financial discussions. By speaking openly about money, you help remove the stigma and make it easier for others to do the same. Here are some practical examples of loud budgeting statements you can use in different situations. When faced with expensive dinner invitation, a loud budgeting response might sound like this. When faced with shopping trip with friends, a loud budgeting response might sound like this. When faced with vacation planning, a loud budgeting response might sound like this. The benefits of loud budgeting extend far beyond just saving money. This approach creates positive changes in how you and others view financial responsibility. Loud budgeting transforms financial conversations from sources of stress into opportunities for connection and mutual support. By being transparent about your financial boundaries, you create space for others to do the same, building a culture where financial responsibility is celebrated rather than hidden.